I try to like, I just want to know. You wait, I want to ask you now, because I mean, I go know, you understand? Because I really want to get most of this knowledge. I want to ask you now. You now where I book as my boat driver now. Who will be the first people where you say God creates?
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve. Then which color will they get? What is their color? What color were they?
Well, Bible no describe their color.
But you now, your own now, what do you think? What do you feel as a black man? Say these people, which color they get? You been tell me say they get yellow color. Say they get white skin color.
Yeah, I feel like it's a yellow now.
Okay, you feel saying a white skin.
Yes.
You feel saying a white skin, so you feel.
Yes.
Now you know anything bring about the reason why you feel like that.
No.
Because when they act movie about Adam and Eve, about Jesus Christ, now white people and they present to you. So take like this. So why now you go say? Why now? As in, why now do you think that these people are white? They are not white people.
But do you believe that's there?
Be careful, be careful.
Do you believe that's Adam and Eve? Huh?
Adam and Eve is a myth, a mythology. It never existed.
It never existed for this.
They never existed. See, let me tell you, human beings have been existing for thousands of years. There is nothing like first man or first woman. There can only be first man or first woman if you look at it from the biblical or religious point of view, okay? But now, based on research, when I say research, I am talking about not childish research, not all this, when I say childish research, I'm not talking about all this normal read books and the rest. I'm talking about primary research. They went to the field. The first human beings on earth were not white people. The first human beings on earth were black people who existed in Africa, precisely Ethiopia, around 140,000 to 200,000 years ago. The first human beings walked on this earth, and they lived in Ethiopia.
For Ethiopia?
Yes, Ethiopia. Where is Ethiopia? Ethiopia is in Africa. Good. I think East Africa. Now, Ethiopia being in Africa shows that if human beings existed first in Ethiopia, let's say human beings existed first in Africa. Now, the story of Adam and Eve is just a mythology presented by Judaism. Judaism is a religion of the Jews.
Sorry, no verse. How do you find out all these things?
How I did what?
How do you find out all these stories?
You have to be passionate about knowing the history of your people. When I was so passionate about knowing the history of black people, every time they keep on telling me that black people did nothing good, black people are the wreck of the world, black people are the disease, black people are the infection of the world. That's why I see if you see a black man in Indians will be slapping him, beating him. In America, the racism, you see how they treat blacks. You go to here, you see how they treat black. So I want to know the good thing these people have done. I don't know if you understand, my brother. Are you with me? I really want to know if these black people that they call the disease of this, as in of this world, what is the wrong thing that they have done? I discovered that before human beings started walking on this earth, black people, when I say human being, I mean before the first white people started walking on this earth, black people have already built the first pyramid in the world. That is to say, the first skyscraper in the world. Let me break it down for you. That is to say, the first stone building in the world. Block, stone building. 2780 BCE. 2780 BCE. The first people on earth, black people, built the first pyramid. It is called the step pyramid of Dojeza, built by a black man like you and me. His name is Imhotep. They will never teach you about these things in movies. Look, I'm coming. Look at Nollywood. Nollywood industry will be presenting rubbish. But do you know that black people had their ancient traditional wares? But when Nollywood in Nigeria want to act movie, they will tell you about leaf, that we are using leaf as our clothes. One of the oldest African material is called the Ankara. That's Ghana, as in Ghanaian material. Have they ever thought that black people have ruled and colonized white people for over 800 years, from 711 AD to 1492? They will never teach you these things because these things are knowledge so deep that they don't want the school to teach, because everything they teach us in our school is nothing else but white supremacy.
No version. That means this Bible now is just a white people write the Bible.
Let me tell you one thing. The Bible was written by illiterates, ignorant people, cattle headers, Jewish cattle headers. Can I tell you that everything in the Bible, from Adam and Eve, from the book of Genesis to the book of Revelation, I don't know how many books that are there, but the total of it were all copied from ancient African texts, ancient African papyri. That means ancient paper, papyrus. Let me give an example now. The oldest Holy Bible, or let me say the oldest book in the world. Okay, let me break it down. The oldest holy book in the world was written in Africa 10,000 years before Moses or Abraham was mentioned. Africans were existing before Moses and Abraham existed. They said, according to Jewish literature, that means Jewish history, their mythology, their traditional beliefs, they believe that Moses was born around 1348 BCE, while Abraham was born around 1774 BCE, that means 1774 BCE. They said that Moses and Abraham were born during that period. But if they were born during that period, research discovered that Africans called black people have been existing in Africa before that time. So where did Moses got his Adam and Eve story? Where did Moses got his story of God creating man in his own image? Or God, the story of God creating man in his own image was 10,000 years recorded in Egyptian pyramid, Egyptian shrines, Egyptian tablets, Egyptian stones, where an Egyptian god named God Khnum, your black ancestor, started making man and his spirits through potter and mud, through his potter, God Khnum. This was 10,000 years before any holy book was written. Now let me go back to how they colonized and ruled white people for over 800 years. Black people called them, they were not calling us black people. They called us the Moors. M-O-O-R-O-S. Moors in Latin means black. We left North Africa. We invaded Europe. Spain was the world power. Portugal and southern France. These were the places we colonized and conquered. The oldest university in Europe was established by black people who had black skin like you from Africa, who colonized Europe, called the University of Salamanca. It was built by black people. The first lecturers, the first teachers of Oxford and Cambridge were students learning in the University of Salamanca, built and taught by black people. Europeans were very dirty people. They were not hygienic, my brother. My black brother, European people were not hygienic. It was black African people who invaded Europe that taught them how to use soap to bathe through what we call alcohol. We were in the science, we were in the philosophy, we were in the medicine. The only way we can be liberated from this lie is to burn down the educational system and bring back a new educational system called the African science. Let us go back, because they say that Hippocrates, if you take your phone now and check Google and ask who is the father of medicine, they will bring a white man from Greece. When I say Greece is a country in Europe, a white man named Hippocrates. But Hippocrates came to Africa to study medicine. Medicine that was already written down, taught by African priests, such as Imhotep, this man that built the first pyramid with his group of engineers. Are you getting me? He was the father of medicine. When the Greeks came around 500 BCE, when they came to Africa, came to Egypt, you understand? They studied the knowledge of our ancestors. When they studied this knowledge, they went to Ethiopia, they went to Sudan, they went to Mali, they went to Egypt, they even came to Benin. They even came to Benin. Have you heard of the Benin Wall? The Benin Wall is 10,000 years older, stronger than the Chinese Wall. Where did these ancient primitive cavemen that they describe us in Nollywood movie industries, where did they get the technology to cut stones? There is something they know about the black man, but they will not allow you to know about yourself as a black man. See, we have to wake up, but because the processes that kept us underdeveloped today were the same processes that facilitated the growth, development, and progress of those who invaded us.